Oh, it's Power Rankings time, and look, our friends from Toyota are back, sponsoring one of our favorite segments of the week. The 32 teams, without regard to conference affiliation, divisional alignment, how do they stack up? Some would say I pull it out of a certain crevice every week, and those would be potentially accurate. It's a gut feeling. It's pasta and meatballs. It's how the teams fit together. Who is the best, who is the worst, and who is everything in between. The Eagles are still number one. The Bills moved to number two because the Chiefs lost. The Packers move up in part because they got Michael Parsons, and, oh, by the way, he's pretty good. The Chiefs plummet from 2 to 7. Look, I don't know. I'll gladly take your complaints, Myles, objections, any questions you may have. I think the top 16 is fairly solid. There may be some people who think their favorite team is too low because they probably think since their favorite team won, they deserve being in the top 3. But I'm fine with that. I'll stand by that top half.
Good. You should. I think that anybody that wants to put out power rankings should stand by them. I don't know that I would have the Chiefs falling that much. I don't know that I would have had the Chargers rising by that much. You know, you get a division opponent outside the country. Look, the Chargers played about as well as they could, especially, Joe Alt. My gosh, how well did he do at left tackle after flipping over there after Slater goes down? So I think the Chargers have a lot to be encouraged by. I'm curious to see how that game against the Raiders is going to go on Monday night. The Lions falling that much, man, oh man. You just didn't believe, you don't believe in the Lions anymore after seeing that offensive performance, huh?
Well, I don't, and they're going to have to prove it to me. So much of it is where you land lower than you expected, you have to prove it. You have to establish yourself, and the Lions can. It's going to change every week. The issue with the Chargers and the Chiefs, I'm glad you mentioned that. The problem is I had the Chiefs too high at 2, and I had the Chargers too low at, let me do the math, 15. Because,
okay,
look, it was a long enough day as it was, but can you imagine what I would have been dealing with yesterday from Chargers fans? I think there are some who would have been up in arms that we beat the Chiefs, but we're behind the Chiefs, and they're 0-1, and we're 1-0, and we're behind them. So I already had to deal with enough, and I don't mind it because the same passion that gets people to call me a moron, often accurately, for some of these rankings, that's what brings them to PFT, brings them to this show. So I welcome it. It's fun. It's another little way to talk about football and to break down the barriers that put the teams in neat little packages of 4 teams, 4 teams, 4 teams. This is everyone. It makes it feel like college football. It's like the top 25 poll. Sure. And I put roughly as much thought into it as some of the voters do. Oh, apparently, yeah, based upon the video that I saw yesterday. So let's look at the
bottom half. Yeah.
By the way, congratulations to the Chargers, the highest risers of the week. It's like the Casey Kasem top 40, rising this week from 15 to number 6. It's the LA Chargers with Justin Herbert asking the Chiefs, never mind. All right, let's go to the second 16, the worst. And hey. I made the comment during the Dolphins game on Sunday, retweeting last week's graphic that had them at number 29. We may have had them too high. This week, I'm sorry, that's showing for a team that ordinarily starts fast or fast starts before it falls flat on its face. To fall flat on their face out of the gates is a harbinger of doom for the Dolphins. They're staying at number 32 until they play their way out of it. Sorry, Dolphins fans, you can get pissed all you want. Play your way out of that hole and try not to dig it any deeper.
Well, the Dolphins look bad, not good, just like my favorite Canadian jazz fusion band against the Colts. I think that you might have put the Colts a little bit too high. I mean, to me, that game was more about the Dolphins than the Colts. And kudos to Daniel Jones. He played well. He showed why he won that quarterback competition. I don't think any of us were all that surprised by that result in the first place. But yeah, the Dolphins looked absolutely listless. And if you look like that in week 1, that was more of a December performance than a September performance, if you know what I mean. It's
Oh,
not,
absolutely.
it's not a good way to start the season. Well, we got to see what they do against the Patriots this week.
That's why I was concerned when I picked the Colts to win that game, because early season Dolphins are much more potent and effective, and they run that offense, and it's all very. And hey, they're indoors, they're on turf. I thought the Colts may have had their hands full. For me, but still, it's you get the point. It's the roof's open in Miami. Like it's still summertime. Yeah, all right. Yeah. It's still doors. They're indoors. There were doors, and they were inside of them. But I didn't say they were under glass. But they early in the year show a much better propensity to play well. They get softer as it gets colder and as the elements set in. So, this is going to be a big test for them. And I suspect Mike Vrabel was telling the Patriots all week long, just hit him in the mouth. Let's see. Let's test him. And we'll see how they respond. They made Jordan Brooks a captain, and he's the guy who called the team out as soft after they lost at Lambeau Field on Thanksgiving night last year. So we'll see if they can respond. But it was not a good way to get the season going. The Raiders were an intriguing one, if we can put the graphic back up, because, and here's the problem. If you win, but you beat a team that isn't very good, you're not going to rocket up into the top 5. The Raiders moved up one spot from number 24 to 23, and they're over the Patriots, who fell just far enough to be behind them, because God forbid I would have had the Patriots in front of the Raiders after the Raiders go to New England and win the game. Here's the question that we got from Lawson: how in the world are the Raiders beneath several teams who lost? And my response on Twitter is the same as it is here. These aren't standings. It would be very easy for me if the top 16 teams were all the teams that won last week and the bottom 16 teams were all the ones that lost. There are 0-1 teams that are going to be in the top half. There are 1-0 teams that are going to be in the bottom half. And, you never know. And I usually say this every year when the season begins, and I haven't said it here yet. You never know how good the team is that beat you or how bad the team is that you beat. That all plays out over time. Just because you won, you may have beaten the worst team in football. And just because you lost, you may have lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion. We don't know. And we find out. So for now, we're still kind of locked in, and we'll see how it plays out. And the Raiders are still stuck in the AFC West. They still have to play the Chargers, Chiefs, and Broncos twice. And maybe the Raiders are going to rise up under Pete Carroll, and it would be great if they do. Somebody's got to be in each one of those 32 spots, and every team has a chance to play their way higher. That's what this exercise is about. How high have they played themselves by winning, and how low have they fallen by losing?
Well, I do like that you gave the Saints a good loss, because they rose 2 spots in the power rankings, as did the Browns, 3 spots in the power rankings with that good loss in some ways to the Cincinnati Bengals in a game that they obviously should have won, if not for the Smitty kicker. So those are interesting things that are there. The Cardinals lost a spot, and I watched the end of that game between the Cardinals and Saints, and I didn't necessarily realize how close it was on Sunday, but the last time I was on, I said to look out for that game. And, if that tight end catches that ball down, that was a great ball down the seam by Spencer Rattler. He put them in position to, tie that game up, if not win it, with the 2-point conversion. So good for the Saints there. Maybe they won't be as bad as I thought.
Well, if we were doing a uniform week 1 power ranking, the Saints would be below 32. That looked like an abomination. Remember the old movie Any Given Sunday, where they couldn't use the NFL names and trademarks, and they made up like the Miami Sharks, and they had to make up the uniforms. It looked like something like that. I'm sorry. Look, the Saints have been good to us. We had Kellen Moore on last week. They're always very cooperative. We want to get somebody on, but let's retire that fit from last week. That does not work. That was bad. That looked minor league. That's beneath the and hey, I blame Nike. It's the ongoing Nikefication of the NFL. Oh, we're going to have a marketing meeting today. We want to have a discussion about some exciting new looks that we have been developing for your team. And here are some charts as to how it can expand your revenue growth, because your most ardent fans will want to purchase this attractive helmet. No, I'm serious, though. That's the shit that happens.
That's why I said
it drives me crazy.
That right there. That's why I said, hey, put him in full screen when he starts doing stuff like that. Don't make me associated with that. I think no, that's the wrong thing.
There we go. Just leave it like that the rest of the show. Leave it like that the rest of the show.
He's the one that's talking bad about Nike. I enjoy Nike products. I enjoy most of my Nike. I wear Nike Dry Fit all the time. I was wearing my Jordan shoes to class last night. It was great.
Look, I love my Jordan hoodie. When we went to the league meetings in March, Nike gave us a bag of swag. And it was like clowns coming out of a car. Those of us who went and got the swag bag, and you're pulling stuff out. Then. It's like the clown car. Hey, here's another shirt. Hey, here's another thing. And I thought at some point, gee, I wonder if this is going to cause a problem for me the next time I need to call out Nike for ruining NFL uniforms. Nope. Sorry, Nike. It's going to take a lot more than you can fit in one bag to get me to stop saying you have ruined NFL uniforms, because they have. And I knew this was going to happen when they got the contract from Reebok in 2012, and it's upon us. All these different helmets, all these different jerseys, and it would be fine if they look good. Do you agree with me, Myles, that what the Saints were wearing on Sunday was an abomination?
I would say that I did not like those jerseys, and that I would prefer if they did not wear them again. But there are plenty of jerseys around the league that I don't think are all that great. And I do think the more classic the uniform is, the better. If we look at the Falcons throwbacks, we look at the Seahawks throwbacks, we look at the Patriots throwbacks, we look at the Eagles throwbacks. I mean, those are just so great. You look at the Packers uniforms, right? Just absolutely classic stuff that we see. I love those things. The Steelers uniforms, it's going to make people throw up in Cleveland to hear me say this maybe, but that's a great uniform, man. And we see that every week, and we understand what that looks like. When they go to the Bumblebee stuff with Pittsburgh, that's where they lose me. But, it's just classic,
the
good
Bumblebee
stuff. The Browns uniforms that they went back to, right? None of this, Cleveland crap across the chest. Let's get back to what we know and what we do. Those uniforms look great. I love the orange pants. So that's my thing about uniforms. The more classic we can go, the better.
Hey, we're on the same page here. We're saying the same thing.
Well, we're
saying the same thing. We're two different instruments. We're two different instruments in the same symphony on this. Seriously.
I know.
And you're too young, although you have a birthday coming up as well, but you're too young to be get off my lawn guy, but you are conveying the same belief I have. Classic uniforms. The Cowboys don't change. The Raiders don't change. The Chiefs don't change. The Packers don't change. And kudos to all of those organizations for telling the people from Nike who come in and try to Don Draper them into using one of these awful uniform combinations. What if we no. And they tell them, get out of here. Don't even bother. We're not playing that game. So kudos to the teams that hold the rope in the broader tug of war between what looks good and what looks like the Browns' new alternate helmet, sponsored by Dude Wipes. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.